All right, guys, welcome to episode 32 of the Attack the Wreck podcast. Just me again today. I want to talk pretty much just about the NBA playoffs. That is certainly the top sporting event going on right now.
Welcome to the Attack the Wreck podcast. I am your host, Kurt Van Hecken, and you are tuning in to the number one rated podcast on the planet based on the people that rated it number one. The Attack the Wreck podcast is brought to you by Get to 2 Media. Real Estate Ryan has been in real estate for over 20 years and can help you with all your real estate needs. Realtor Ryan has helped me in my journey in learning about real estate, and he can do the same for you, whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just learn more about real estate in general. Ring Realtor Ryan.
Let's start with games tonight. New York Knicks, Miami Heat. The Heat are up 2-1. Sounds like Jimmy Butler will be playing tonight. I would fully expect the Heat to win at home tonight against the Knicks, and probably if Jimmy Butler is going to be playing again, they probably should end up winning that series. I would fully expect them to go up 3-1 tonight, and then I would definitely think they're going to end up winning that series, which is kind of crazy. The Miami Heat were the 8th seed. They needed the play-in tournament to get into the playoffs, and then knocked off number 1 seeded Milwaukee Bucks. And speaking of the Milwaukee Bucks, they have recently, within the last few days, fired their head coach, Mike Budenholzer. I think this, you look back to what Giannis said after being knocked out as the 1 seed. He was saying that despite that the season was not a failure, I would say with the firing of the head coach, that kind of does appear that the Bucks season was a failure, which, I don't know what Giannis was thinking when he was saying that, but if you don't win the championship, especially if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, you're a returning champion, you've got one of the best players in the league, you're the 1 seed. If you don't win the championship, definitely a failure. And then in the second game tonight, the late game, the West Coast game, the Lakers and the Warriors are going at it. The Lakers are up 2-1 in that series. And what a boring series it has been so far. The Warriors won Game 2 by 33, and then 2 nights later, in Game 3, to go up 2-1, the Lakers then won that game by 30. So just not a lot of excitement with this one. Obviously, you do have 2 of the best, if not the 2 best players in the NBA, and LeBron James and Steph Curry. I think the Los Angeles Lakers win this series, and I think they have a really great shot of making it to the Western Conference Finals and even winning the NBA championship. You can never count out LeBron James, despite his age. In my opinion, he's the best player in the NBA, and obviously he is turning it on now that it is playoff time. I think the Lakers were like 43-39 in the regular season. The 7 seed, having to participate in the play-in tournament to get into the playoffs just goes to show really how unimportant the regular season is in the NBA, and how unimportant it is to these guys. Obviously, if you're barely over 500 and then you're go on to possibly win the championship, or at least you're having a lot of success in the playoffs, obviously you're playing at 2 different levels depending on if it's the regular season and whether it's the playoffs, which is, hey, it is what it is. What it is. It makes for boring basketball in the regular season, but maybe some more exciting basketball come playoff time. Again, this series, in my opinion, 30-point wins are not exciting. So this series hasn't been too exciting, but the potential is there when you've got two really special players in Steph Curry and LeBron James. Hopefully, this series has some fireworks before it's all said and done. But I would look towards the Lakers to win this series and also then win the Western Conference Finals and maybe even the NBA championship. There's not a lot coming out of the East, so yeah, I think the Lakers got a really legitimate shot. And then in the other two series, you got the Sixers and the Celtics. Sixers coming off a big win last night in overtime. James Harden hits a bucket late in regulation to send the game into overtime, and then hits a go-ahead three with like 16, 17 seconds left, something like that, to win the game. And in doing so, tying the series at 2-2. Harden nearly had a triple-double last night. He had 42 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists. Joel Embiid had a pretty good offensive game. He had 34 points. He also did have 13 rebounds. Oh yeah, this series is 2-2 now. I think the Celtics will come away victorious in this one and probably face the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. That would be my pick. And then the other series in the West, the Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns have been playing without Chris Paul, but despite that, they win last night and tie up the series at 2 apiece. Both Devin Booker and Kevin Durant scored 36 points, and for the Nuggets, Jokic went for 53 points, and then he also had 11 assists. So the Suns did get down in this series 2-0. Now they've tied it back up at 2, and I think even without Chris Paul, sounds like he probably is going to come back. But even if he doesn't, I'm taking the Suns to come out ahead of the Nuggets and then heading to the Western Conference Finals to take on the Los Angeles Lakers. That is my prediction. So I'm not sure why. Maybe it is because the New York Knicks are back in the playoffs for what seems to be the first time in what seems to be forever. Makes me think back to kind of the golden era of the NBA in the 80s and the 90s. You look at the Knicks, and then you look at some of these other teams that are in the playoffs, still remain in the playoffs, and I don't know, has my head thinking back to what great basketball, what great teams we had back in the 80s and more, into the 90s as well. With the Heat playing the Knicks, you can't help but think back to Game 4 of the 98 playoffs when Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson went at it, and Knicks head coach Jeff Van Gundy had to run out of the floor and try to break it up, grabbing onto Alonzo Mourning's leg and Alonzo dragging him across the floor. Classic moment in NBA history. But and you think about just some of the players that played for the Knicks, back 80s and 90s with obviously Patrick Ewing, just classic 90s team. Knicks, their battles with the Indiana Pacers and the Chicago Bulls in the playoffs. And then when I think of Alonzo Mourning and Larry Johnson getting into a fight, I think about when they were teammates for, I think, a really classic NBA team, that Charlotte Hornets team that had Alonzo and Larry Johnson, and then surrounded by Muggsy Bogues and Kendall Gill and Johnny Newman, J.R. Reed, Del Curry. It's a really, really classic NBA team. Probably my favorite team outside of the Detroit Pistons. One of my favorite NBA non-Pistons NBA team in league history. Definitely the Charlotte Hornets of the 1990s. And then obviously you got the Sixers and the Celtics rivalry, huge rivalry back in the in the 80s, and just, think about all the legends that played for those two teams. Dr. J, Moses Malone, Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson, the Celtics. The list is infinite. But Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, those teams in the 80s and 90s. So yeah, that's just kind of where my head went recently. Just looking at the matchups, and then with the Knicks finally being in the playoffs, and the Lakers, another team with an infinite amount of legends a part of it. And even though this year's Lakers Warriors teams don't really intrigue me that much, I think back to the Warriors of the 90s. Not the greatest team, never really a threat to win an NBA championship, but one of the most fun and exciting teams to watch, with Tim Hardaway and Mitch Richmond and Chris Mullin, and Chris Webber played for the Warriors for a few seasons in the 90s. And then the Phoenix Suns, they made it to the NBA Finals, losing to the Bulls with Charles Barkley and Kevin Johnson. And I definitely missed those days. I think that was back then the NBA playoffs were, outside of March Madness, in my opinion, the most exciting and the best playoffs to watch of the main sports. And now it's just not that anymore. It's just not that interesting or exciting. And hey, before I go, I wanted to also acknowledge the Detroit Tigers recently swept the New York Mets, and in doing so, defeating former Tigers pitchers Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer. The Tigers are currently 3 games under 500 at 15-18, 3 games out of first place. Who knows? The AL Central, not that strong. Who knows? But speaking of divisions and if they are strong or not, my goodness, look at the AL East. Every team in the AL East is above 500. What a tough division that is. Led by the Rays. They're still in first place after that. What was it? 13-0 start. They're in first place, but only a couple games ahead of the Baltimore Orioles. And then you've got Blue Jays, Red Sox, and in last place, the New York Yankees. But again, every team above 500, I'm sure the Yankees are going to turn it on at some point and get back in the mix. But what a really great division that is. But hey, that is all for today, folks. I will see you next week, Monday, for episode 33. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in and listening, or now watching, now that I'm doing some video stuff. I appreciate your support. Please like the video. Please share the video with a friend that may be interested in the NBA playoff talk. Also, hey, feel free to comment. I would love to hear who you guys are picking out of the East and out of the West, and who you're picking to win it all. And what do you guys think of the Detroit Tigers? What do you guys think of the AL East? What do you guys think of the 1 month into or almost a month and a half now into the Major League Baseball season? What are you thinking? What are you predicting? Who do you like? Who do you not like? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe, and we will see you on the next episode.
Please subscribe to the Attack the Rack YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you are updated every time we post. Also, please like, comment, and share.